from a no-hitter. Phillies down to their last out. Down 5-0 in Game 4. Real Muto. Bouncing ball to third. Picked by Bregman. Throw across in time. The Astros have a World Series no-hitter.
No-hitter for the Houston Astros as they blank the Philadelphia Phillies. This World Series is all square at 2 games apiece.
Well, live by the home run, die by the home run. The Philadelphia Phillies are no hit in Game 4. Series will be headed back to Houston. This is Interesting to See, your daily sports podcast, news, narratives, takes, and gambling. Thursday show did not have Controversial Wednesday yesterday. The series will indeed head back to Houston, I think, Saturday. Fucking baseball does this to themselves. It is set to start right as a bunch of ranked college football teams are playing. Yep, so that's good. That's what you want when you're baseball, and nobody watches anymore. That's good, right? Totally. We can say, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I think, for the most part, I have no idea, that this World Series is historic. Because in Game 3, the Phillies hit 5 home runs, which no team had done before. In Game 4, they are no hit by a pitcher named Javier. That's his last name. He was a deep prospect for my Astros and yours. And as a result of that, it's kind of a surprising situation, but the Astros have good starting pitching. Who knows what would have happened if Lance McCullers hadn't been tipping his pitches. In game number 3, Christian Javier. Oh, my God. I hate... Who wrote this? Aiden Gonzalez? Christian Javier's parents, Trinidad Misas and Cecilio Javier, flew from the Dominican Republic to Philadelphia and sat in his hotel room late Tuesday night in the build-up to the biggest outing of his life. Ugh. What a gross lead sentence that is. Dude, it's not a book. Just say he pitched well. The fuck? Okay, I didn't know that guy wrote that poorly. But here we go. Let's get on with the show. It is Thursday Night Football coming up tonight. The Philadelphia Eagles are playing. We will get into that momentarily. Let's just highlight some stuff. We did miss some stuff on Controversial Wednesday, so I want to get into that. I said we had earth-shattering NBA news, and I didn't talk about it because it'll become bigger later. So remember when the Boston Celtics head coach got indefinitely suspended for piping someone he shouldn't have been? Yeah, that's right. I said that. I'm pretty sure it's the owner's wife. But nobody wants to talk about that. This is all alleged. It's all alleged. We don't know who it was for sure. So he got suspended indefinitely, but then the Nets fired Steve Nash, their head coach. And remember, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are on the Nets, and oh my God. So we'll get into Kyrie Irving's anti-Semitism here momentarily. And yeah, it's great. And then now Ime Udoka. Oh my God, I'm caught in the Matrix, the Vindaloop about how to pronounce his name. The Boston Celtics former head coach who got suspended for having an inappropriate sexual relationship is now the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets. We'll see how that goes. He's a really good coach, so we'll see what happens. Kyrie Irving had to release a joint statement with the Nets because he said some anti-Semitic shit. Here we go. I oppose all forms of hatred and oppression and stand strong with communities that are marginalized and impacted every day, said Kyrie Irving. I am aware of the negative impact of my post towards the Jewish community, and I take responsibility. I do not believe everything said in the documentary was true or reflects my morals or principles. I am a human being, learning from all walks of life, and I intend to do so with an open mind and willingness to listen. So for my family and I, we meant no harm to anyone, group, race, or religion to people, and I wish to only be a beacon of truth and light. He watched an anti-Semitic documentary and then posted about it. I don't know, on some social media. I don't remember which one, and now he's in trouble. As you can imagine. And people are mad. He plays in New York City. Just food for thought. The Ottawa Senators announced that they are up for sale about, 50 hours ago or so. And Canadian megastar, and by the way, everyone in Canada impersonates this dude. I went to a wedding, and it was officiated by this guy who was just like putting on his best Ryan Reynolds act. Like, Ryan Reynolds is a god in Canada. Men in America are obsessed with him. Men in Canada worship him. It's like a different level. Like, it's a huge deal. Anyway, this guy, he owns an old, I think, Welsh football club with Rob McElhenney. Rob McElhenney is not the hot Dennis one and not Charlie Day. He's the other guy in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Rob, and Mac, right? That's his last name, McElhenney. He and Ryan Reynolds, they own a United Kingdom soccer team, Wrexham. who's one of the oldest ever. And, yeah, they're trying to bring it back to prominence. Well, Ryan Reynolds announced recently he's interested in buying the Ottawa Senators, who are up for sale. I'm going to be very clear. I do not think that he has the capital on hand to pull this off. However, you could go into business with people who could pull it off. I have no idea how much the Ottawa Senators are worth. I can say definitively that there are too many hockey teams in Canada compared to the big markets of the United States. And even being a small fish in a big pond like the Carolina Hurricanes, there are going to be more big buyers because it's just better to be in business in Raleigh than it is to be in Ottawa. That's just a fact. Raleigh is the fastest growing city, I think, in the world right now. Dead serious. So that's just how this is going to work. So regardless of this being the fourth most popular sport in the Western Hemisphere, specifically the United States, and it being like a weirdly big, small market because it's big because it's Canada, but it's small because it's Canada, I don't know that he's got the cash for this. I have no idea how much it's going to be worth. My guess is like right around $1 billion. Maybe a couple more. Like teams like in big markets with huge fan bases in well-populated, like highly populated cities in America, Dallas, New York, Boston, Detroit, the LA teams, they're probably worth a couple bill. It depends on if they own their stadium and a bunch of other shit. But I don't know. There's just no. I don't think that he's a billionaire. But he and Rob went into business for Wrexham. Sports are a great business to be in. Congratulations to him, man. That's really cool. Whatever. I hope he does it. Apparently, the people involved in Wrexham really think that he, despite being famous and all of the PR that goes along with that, really understands, what players are trying to go through and what coaches want to go through and stuff. So whatever. I think he should do it. If he can pull it off with someone else, he's going to need like a real life businessman. This is not like Wrexham where they're like dying. He's going to need, because there's more to, in the NHL specifically, it's the most difficult league to maneuver from a cash standpoint because you have to have cash in escrow, which means that when you sign someone to a contract, the rule with the players is that you have to physically have a specific portion of that cash available in like a savings account. Like it has to be cash. You can't just be worth that money and then pay them later. And so that means like not only do you have to be worth a huge amount of money, you have to have that just cash. You have to have cash always in order to just field a team. So it's a little bit more difficult. The NHL has a stupid collective bargaining agreement. It's one of the reasons it's not growing fast enough. Let's move on. Let's get to some other stuff. World Series last night. This is a cool story. There are, in my opinion, and anybody that's been to Philadelphia, if the best food cities in America, in my opinion, Philly is the best food city in America. The only other two comparable ones for me are in California. That's L.A. and, of course, San Francisco. San Diego is good. People will say New Orleans. That gets old quick. I'll just say that. Cajun food is really, really good. It gets old quick. I'm just saying. Big cities have more of a good variety. Boston is bad at food. New York is just a lot. And New York is everything and therefore nothing. I don't know how to explain it. Philly is one of the great food cities in America. In my opinion, it's the best. There are a bunch of really good restaurants that the Astros are trying to hit up while they're there, and they're telling them, fuck off. They're like, nope, we will not give you food. We literally are going to turn down your business. We don't give a shit how famous you are. Stay classy, Philly. You are what you are. You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. 10 out of 10. Maction return Tuesday night and Wednesday night. Here's a fake punt. What a stupid league this is. It's great. Maction is the Mid-America Conference. For those of you that don't know, they play in the middle of the week because it's the only week it's the only day of the week that doesn't have a bunch of football, and therefore they just want the spotlight. And people watch football.
And he came about a yard short.
They fake it. Little jump pass. Okay.
He fumbled it.
He fumbled it, but he got it back.
Oh my goodness, this is just Maction.
Wow, let's look at this D tackle number 95's hair. It is majestic. Holy crap. Look at it. Look at it. Look at that hair. Oh my goodness. What a man. What a guy. Should I tell you who won the games? Maybe. Action Tuesday night, Kent State, Ball State. Ball State beat Kent State 27-20. And Buffalo versus Ohio. Ohio beat Buffalo by 21 points, yo. Last night, Central Michigan beat NIU 35-22, and Western Michigan beat Bowling Green 13-9. That's not Maction. Who the fuck in the MAC is playing defense? Fire them. Games tonight, UTEP and Rice, App State and Coastal Carolina. That's actually a huge rivalry. They hate each other. App State and Coastal Carolina, this is Eastern Carolina. No. Coastal Carolina and App State hate each other. They are not bros. It's because they're technically in the same state, but North Carolina is an enormous state, east to west. And those are two different worlds, and they fucking hate each other. I did not know or care about that as a thing until I lived here now, and yeah, they're not bros. And then tomorrow night, got some big name, brand name schools playing. Oregon State's playing Washington. Washington was ranked at some point. Remember that? Remember how stupid rankings are? Oregon State is now ranked, so that's a game to watch at 10:30 p.m. on a Friday because none of us are doing anything. And I'll take Washington outright. I don't know the spread. Don't care. Washington's going to win that game. Saturday's a big one. We'll get more in. Well, actually, we'll do some college football now just because we've got some NFL stuff to go through over the weekend or on Friday. The reason that this is a big game, you can see on your screen right here, is for this game. It starts at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is the number 1/number 2. Who the hell knows which rankings which website are using? It's Georgia and Tennessee. So some interesting facts that I saw on the internet that Georgia often gets their ass kicked when they play a top 5 offense in the country. Dating back to Ole Miss beating them 45-17. If you don't remember that was Hugh Freeze's last year. It was Kirby Smart's first year. Does that count? I don't think so. But apparently Georgia gets their ass kicked by top 5 offenses. There have been a lot of people comparing the 2022 Tennessee Volunteers to the 2019 LSU Tigers. We shall see. That LSU team had the best college quarterback I've ever seen, throwing to the best tandem of wide receivers ever. They would literally, if you had both of them on an NFL team right now, you would have a historic pair of wide receivers. And the third one was good too. And they had a running back. I think that's a bit premature, but they are very good. Tennessee is running out of opponents who can beat them. Their final 4 games are Georgia, Missouri, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. Missouri and Georgia and Vanderbilt will be walkthroughs. Missouri is at home in Tennessee at noon. They're going to get crushed. Vanderbilt doesn't matter when it kicks off. It's in Nashville, so that game is going to be sold out. It will all be orange. South Carolina, don't sleep on them. That could get weird, but this is it. If they win this game, they will probably have locked up the SEC East and will be headed to Atlanta for the SEC championship against. I don't think Alabama's unbeatable. I mean, I don't think the problem this year with the SEC West is there's no one to challenge them. It's entirely possible they lose to LSU this weekend, and it gets weird. Because then you can get into 3- and 4-way ties. I mean, you could see Ole Miss or LSU in the SEC championship. I don't think that would be that weird. That's just my take. So big weekend in college football, specifically for the 3 p.m. window. Other big games. Clemson's at Notre Dame. Clemson has a D-line. They're going to destroy Notre Dame. I have no idea what the line is. Notre Dame this year has been very easy for me to predict. It's very simple. Does the team that they're playing have even 2 good defensive linemen? If no, Notre Dame's going to win by 1,000 because they just run the ball down your throat. Even this year, they don't have the running back is not as good, the quarterback is not as good, and the offensive line is not as good as it's been in 10 years. They still play football that way. When they play teams like even Marshall has a couple guys that are kind of better than Notre Dame's defensive line guys. When they can't run the ball down your throat, they can't score. When they play North Carolina and Syracuse, you can just run the ball down your throat, and then that leaves the tight end open, and that's their only receiver. So that's kind of what they do, right? So as a result of that, let's see what the line is. It's -3.5. No disrespect to the Notre Domers in my life, but oh my God, it's -3.5. See, everyone's going to look at when Clemson played Wake Forest, and they're going to be like, if Wake can do it, we can do it. No, Wake can score. Notre Dame can't score like that. Wake would drop 40 on Notre Dame, and Notre Dame would drop 40 on Wake. That would be an excellent game. I wish that game was happening this year in Winston-Salem so I could go to it. But it isn't happening. All right, pro football. Let's get into Thursday night football. Dun, 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 dun. Wrong theme song. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know what the Amazon theme is, but I do know that every time I watch Thursday night football, I'm like, no. Someone fix this. It's Eagles at Texans, the game we all wanted. It's ironic because Philly and Houston are playing in the World Series right now, and those games are going to happen at the same time. I don't know if that's irony. I think the irony is that when this schedule came out, you're like, why the hell is this game on Thursday night? There has to be a reason for it, and there isn't one. It's a terrible game, but it is ironic that it turned out to be a fun storyline because Houston and Philly are in the World Series. See, I used irony correctly. Most people don't. I would have preferred Colts-Patriots. I would say Packers-Lions, but the Lions got to play on Thanksgiving, and that's every team is required to play one Thursday night game. Did you know that? Oh, that's what this is about. That's how they're going to get these guys into Thursday night. I thought the Eagles already played Thursday night. Didn't they play the Vikings? Irregardless, the Houston Texans are 1-5-1, and that tie against the Indianapolis Colts is what's keeping them in the number 2 overall draft pick slot behind the Detroit Lions, who just made a big trade. Just in case you remember, a lot of trades happened over the weekend. Remember that for your fantasy lineups. TJ Hawkinson, I think, is going to be much better in Minnesota than he was in Detroit. Detroit likes their tight ends to block. He is egregiously bad at that. He very much plays football like he went to Ole Miss and not like he went to Iowa. Said it, meant it. Okay, let's look into Thursday Night Football. Jalen Hurts is insane. So if you look at the Eagles' schedule, this is what's really fun. Everyone says that the problem with the Eagles is that they can't play from behind. Because if they need to throw the ball, can they really throw the ball? The only time they've been in a situation where they have to get first downs and have to be aggressive was against the Lions. The Lions dropped 35 on them relatively easily. Since then, they've obliterated pretty much everybody. There have been some close games, but they've never been in a situation where they're down 10 points and they need to chuck the ball around and get back in the game. They 3-point win over the Cardinals. That was a trap game. They kind of handled the Cowboys without a problem. They embarrassed the Steelers. Then here's what they have left. Texans, Commanders, Colts, Packers, who offense there suck. Titans, maybe? Giants, Bears, Cowboys, Saints, Giants. There are no good offenses left on their schedule. And that's the entire NFC. The only good offenses left on that they could possibly theoretically play. Like Detroit's not going to make the playoffs. They might have to play San Francisco or I guess Seattle. But the only time they're going to have to play good offense is literally in the Super Bowl. And if you look at the schedule, if no one gets hurt, they could go undefeated. It would be very smart of them to lose to like Dallas on December 24th because you don't want that pressure. That's not what you want. Game tonight, the Houston Texans. Philadelphia is favored by 14. And the over-under is 45. I can't do math like that. So 46 divided by 2 is 23. 14 divided by 2 is 7. So they're predicting essentially 31-14. Is that right? And that's 17 points. So it's 31-17. 29-17. Something like that. I don't care anymore. I have to figure this. Okay, now this is a 2-touchdown game. I'm not giving up. There's a 2-touchdown game, and the over-under is at 45.5, which means the scatter at 46. 26 is a 2-touchdowns game. So how do the Eagles win? By 2 touchdowns and get the over-under to 45. So they are predicting, like 31-17 is about right. And that gets the over-under to 48. So even that would be too many points. So you could just take 3. Like it's what? They're predicting like 29-13, somewhere in there. Unbelievable. That is an enormous spread. Absolutely enormous. Let's take a look at the wagers. That if you want to bet on it, I think the Eagles are going to cover. I mean, 14's a lot of points. Yeah, they're better. They're so much better. I want to see what the rushing yard props are for the entire team. A lot of people think, so the Eagles were able to pull their starters late in the third quarter against the Steelers, and people are like, yeah, they got Thursday Night Football. Why would they run them into the ground? Dameon Pierce for the Texans is over under 65.5 rushing yards. I love the over there. I like the under on Miles Sanders rushing yards is 80. No, it's going to be way under. I think they're going to use a committee. Boston Scott and stuff. Jalen Hurts over under is 41. I think he's not going to run at all. I think they're just going to keep him in the pocket, get in there, and get out. I think Thursday Night Football tonight, World Series tonight, Eagles and Phils. Phils got embarrassed, bro. They got embarrassed. Well, they embarrassed the Houston Astros. It's been a fun World Series in that there's only been one good game. But in the games that were blowouts, there was fun stuff happening, which that matters. There's cool storylines, and the crowd has been electric in Philly. It's going to be shitty when they go back to Houston, but it is what it is. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Back and better than ever for Football Friday.